Good morning, guys. How are you all? Still have a minute before we start, but I did want to ask something. What game did we play last week in class? Do you remember? Was it the one with the animals being frozen? The freezing game. Okay, thanks. And who was the last one to be frozen? It was the jellyfish. Because that was the one I chose. That's the only reason I remember. Okay, great. Thanks. This is the one from English, so I'm not giving any spoilers there. We were in part 3, and the jellyfish was the one, so it was here, we were here. Right. Okay, now we can start. Now, in today's class, right, just like last week, I'm going to ask that you use the chat for questions about work, right, rather than greetings, or yes or no if I ask if you're still writing, right? Generally, I'd say it obviously you have to do a thumbs up, but in case I forget, right? We want to focus on Istar today, but before we do that, let's go back to this exercise to just wrap up what we were doing on SARE. Does this look familiar? Everybody has seen this before because you took a look at the homework. I'm going to call up the first 5 and I'm going to do the first 5 with you, and then I'm going to let you answer the next 5 using a poll, a Zoom poll, right? There is room in the Zoom classroom, so if you are on YouTube, you're welcome to join the Zoom classroom so you'll be able to send answers or questions. If there's anything you don't understand, right? All right. So your pastor is kind of in the way here. All right, these are the instructions, right? Rewrite each sentence using the correct form of ser and replace the noun with the correct subject pronoun. So there's 2 things you're doing. You have to put in the correct form of ser, and you have to change the noun into a pronoun, right? So in the first sentence, Marta something professora. All right, so Marta is the noun that we would have to change to a pronoun. And then we have to think about the form of ser that Marta would take, right? So Marta is female and she's 1, so it would be ella, right? Because what are the subject pronouns? The subject pronouns are yo, tú, él, ella, usted, right? Which is sometimes UD dot and VD dot, right? Nosotros. But if it's a group of girls, it could also be nosotras, right? Ellos, ellas, ustedes. Did I forget anything? I hope not. And then the forms of ser, I'm going to erase all this writing just now because it should be in your notes, right? Forms of ser, we're talking about soy, eres, es. So, yo soy, tú eres, usted es, nosotros somos, ellas, ustedes son, right? So this is the set of notes that you're looking at to help us answer these questions. Okay, so let's go through the first one. Marta is singular and female. So it would be ella. So she is a teacher. So we would say ella. And what form of ser does ella take? Ella es profesora. So we're talking about occupation. So we use ser. Juan y yo. So Juan and I, and y'all can send your answers in the chat if you would like to, right? It's just I'm gonna talk through the first 5 without waiting as examples. And then I'm gonna ask you to try the next 5 without me talking. So Juan y yo, Juan and I, that would be we, right? All right, Juan is masculine and I might be masculine or feminine, depending on who's answering the question. So not nosotras, but rather nosotros. Okay, and then what form of ser does nosotros take? Nosotros somos amigos, right? All right. Two, something estudiante. So it's giving us the pronoun here. We don't need to think about what is the pronoun. Two, you are a student. Tú eres estudiante, right? And we talked about how in Spanish, whereas in English we say she is a professor, you are a student, they are doctors, we are friends. We don't put in that. Well, friends and doctors are not a good example. We don't put in that a teacher, a student, right? We don't put in that, we don't translate that a. All right, Carlos y Luis. So they, which pronoun is for they? Ellos, right? And then what part of Sarah agrees with ellos? Ellos son médicos. So if you did it for homework, you could make your corrections, right? Yeah, which is just to put a tick, right? Yo, so we have a subject pronoun yo, nothing to change. Yo soy alta. And of course, if I had simply said soy alta, that would convey, that would be grammatically acceptable as well, right? It's just as exercise says, put in yo. Right, now, if you are confused about anything, please type the question in the chat. Right, so again, type any question you might have in the chat. All right, other than that, let us go to the next 5. All right, so I'm gonna pause the recording. I'm gonna launch a poll, right? Have you anybody else, y'all have answered polls in Zoom already? Don't respond with words, just maybe a thumbs up, right? Yeah, click on the wrong thing. Hold on a second here. Right, polls and get okay, so tell me your answer for 6. What form of ser do we have to use for 6? And what is the subject pronoun that we have to use for 6? You can put it in on the poll. Now I'm gonna stop the poll in 15 seconds or so. So if you want to answer quickly, as quickly as you can, please. And there are always some students in my class who are unable to access the poll. I don't know if it's the Zoom or the device, right? If this is your first week of class, then it would be understandable if you're confused. If you missed a week of class and you didn't get to look at the recording, it would be understandable if you were confused, right? So you need to go back and look at that. All right. um okay, I'm gonna put back the notes on the side here, right? The subject pronoun to choose from. I'm gonna put back the verb, right? All right, so yo, tú, él, ella, usted, nosotros, nosotras, ellos, ellas, ustedes, right? All right, so in Spanish, if we are saying I am, we say yo soy. If we are saying you are, we say tú eres. If we are saying he, she, or it, or formal you is, or are, because in English we say you are, so it is is. Él es, ella es, usted es, right? We are, nosotros, or nosotras, somos. They are, or you plural are, ellos, ellas, ustedes, son, right? Okay. All right, so Ana y tú. Let me get rid of this stuff on top here. Okay, what subject pronoun, first of all, would Ana y tú take? That means Ana and you. So Ana and you is really you, right? So if you were among those who said ellos or ellas, depending on whether the two is female or not, that's what we would choose, right? So if you said ellos or ellas, oh, well, it has to be ellas because this is simpaticas. So ellas, and then the verb it takes is son, right? I need to turn back on the recording. Right, so ellas son simpáticas. La señora Gomez, what subject pronoun does la señora Gomez take? Is it I, you, he, she, it, we, they, what? She, good. All right, so what form of Sarah does it take? She is. It would be es. Very good. So ella es, right? La señora Gomez es, doctora. And I'll just say it again. When we are saying the occupation of a person, we do not put in an indefinite article like a or an. We don't say she is a doctor, she is an doctor. Well, an orthopedic surgeon, whatever. No, una, right? So she is, ella is. All right. Tú y yo, you and I, what pronoun is that? Is it you? Is it I? Or is it something else? What's the subject pronoun there? That should be, you and I would be we. Good, right. So we are, so we would be nosotros or nosotras, depending. Right? Nosotros. And the form of ser takes is somos, right? Nosotros somos vecinos. We are neighbors. Right? All right. Well, it has to be masculine because anyhow, yeah. Los niños, something traviesos. The children are naughty. Travieso is naughty. So are the children I, you, he, she, it, they, us, well, we? Ustedes son would be you are plural. If I'm talking to the class, you are. Right, good. Ellos son, because they are, right? All right, so ellos son. Mi mamá, something paciente. All right, guys, I know we have a troll in class, but just ignore him or her, and eventually they'll get bored and move on, right? Just focus on the questions. Right. So ellos, not ellos, sorry. We are on la mama. So she, mi mama es. But what? All right. So we're practicing two things, right? So ella es paciente. Right. All right. So make any corrections you need to the homework. And I'm giving people a minute for that. If you have already corrected or you didn't have any corrections to make, you could try the next 5. All right, can I clear away this? Yeah, half a minute again. Remember, you can always come back to the recording if you need to, right? Now, guys, if you sat through the first classes or you didn't attend the first classes and you didn't take good notes, you didn't review, and now you're confused, that is why, right? Spanish doesn't just stick in your head. You have to actively put it there. It's not like other subjects that are delivered in English, and so then you might just remember what it says or what Miss says because you speak English every day and you internalize it that way. Spanish, you have to begin with, actively try to put it into your head. Right? And if you don't do it because more and more is going to come at you, it will get more and more difficult and eventually overwhelming, right? So keep that in mind. You have to be kind of disciplined about Spanish if you want to do well at it, right? And one other thing, some of you come to the Friday morning class. Tomorrow the class is going to be later, right? Instead of at 9, it's going to be at just like this time slot, 11:35, right? I'll send a message on the chats, but I wanted to tell you all first. Yeah, the same for French. Yeah. All right. I'm gonna clear this away. I'm gonna start back the recording. Okay. Let's try it now without the little guide on the side, right? You can go back to your notes, of course. All right, the poll is up again. Tell me the answer for 11. Pedro y tú something estudiantes. Pedro and you. That one would have to be you, right? If it's Pedro and you, and I'm speaking to you, I would say you, meaning you plural, right? So it would have to be. Okay, so a lot of people are getting tricked because they think it's ellos, but if it was Pedro y Juan or Pedro y Enrique, it would be they. But it's Pedro y tú, Pedro and you. So if a teacher is talking to Pedro y tú in a classroom, it's you. You plural, so it would be ustedes, right? All right, so I'm gonna stop the poll in 10 seconds. Get your answer if you want to. And if it's ustedes, then what is the verb? You see, most people got the verb correct. 29% with 29%, which is the majority, got son correct, but did not pick ustedes. Well, the numbers changed slightly while I was talking, but all right. One more. Okay, so the answer for this is going to be ustedes, son, right? I'm going to launch the poll again. Try number 12 now. You try number 12. All right, good. Mi papa y yo. So if I am included, it has to mean we. Right. Okay, great. The majority of people are getting this one correct. All right, so last 10 seconds to the poll. So if it's EO, it has to be we, but if it's E2, it has to be you. Right? Right. Okay, so mi papá y yo, nosotros somos. We are hardworking. Trabajadores. All right. La profesora, something estricta. The teacher is strict. La profesora, so it's a she. Okay, I kind of gave away this one. So if it's she, it's ella. And then what form of the verb do we put with the ella? We put ella is, right? All right, Andres, that's a male name. Okay, this was for the last one. And let's do, okay, so try number 14 with the poll now. What is the subject pronoun? What's the form of the verb? Yeah. Andres, something muy divertido. Andres is very entertaining. Okay, we get to the form of the verb, overwhelmingly correct, and the subject pronoun too. Okay, great. This one, él es muy divertido. All right. I think 15 is going to be the last one we do together, and then I will give you the answers for 16 to 20 if you did it for homework. So you could check it, right? All right, so these are the results for the last one. Try 15. Okay, I'm gonna come back to why 11 was ustedes just now, right? All right. Ready? So mis abuelos, if I'm talking to mis abuelos, then I would say they, right? If I'm talking about mis abuelos, I would say they. If I was speaking to them, I would say ustedes. So I don't know if some people thought about it that way, right? All right. So if I'm speaking to you about my grandparents, I would say they are. But if these were my grandparents, let's give them a little walking cane and grandma, right? I would say you to them, right? All right, but anyhow, they either way the verb would be the same. So if you chose ustedes, so if you chose ellos, all right, you would still pick son, mayores. Mayor can mean older, it can mean better. I can't remember what I was thinking when I wrote this. Maybe I was thinking they are the older set of grandparents. Or maybe I was thinking they are the better grandparents. Do you have a favorite set of grandparents over the other? Does one give you more stuff than the other, or is one set nicer to you? Guys, just focus on the questions that we're doing, right? I'm aware that we have a troll, and I'm aware that the person is picking other people's names and sometimes changing one letter or sometimes just using their name. I'm aware, but I can't do anything about it without disrupting our class. And in reality, they're not really hurting us in any way, right? So just ignore them and focus on the actual work and we'll be fine, right? All right. I want to give you the answers to the last 5. And then if there's anything anybody is still confused about, you can ask me. Somebody asked, why was number 11 ustedes? Let me draw you another picture. This is the teacher. Teacher has glasses, right? Right. And she's speaking to Pedro EU, and you. This is the chair, and you'll sit next to each other. And she's saying you're in the same group. Pedro y tú, están en el mismo grupo, right? And somebody says, Miss, what did you say? And she says, you are in the same group. So if she addresses the both of you all directly, Pedro y tú will be you. But it would have to be you plural because it's 2 people. And where we say you plural in Spanish, whether it's our friends or whether it's people in authority, because we learn Latin American Spanish, would be ustedes. Right? So does it make sense now? Let's look at 16 to 20. And if there's something else giving trouble, just explain what your question is in a chat. All right, so 16, 2. Okay, so this time we have the subject pronoun. The form of ser that 2 takes is eres. So tú eres responsable. You are responsible. La clase. So now the class, it. It is noisy. It is clean. It is the best, right? So ella, because la clase is feminine, es interesante, right? El perro, the dog is loyal. So it's again, el perro, él es leal. Ella could mean her or it could mean it if you think it's feminine. Él could mean she. No, sorry. Ella can mean she or it. Él can mean he or it if the thing is masculine, right? All right, mis amigos y yo. So we are students, right? So nosotros, mis amigas. So nosotras, or if it's a boy writing it, he would still say nosotros, right? Sorry, somos estudiantes. And last one, Pablo y tú, again, you, but you plural. Like Pedro y tú up here. Ustedes, you are good friends. Son, buenos amigos. If you think I made a mistake in any, you could tell me. And you could also check. And if there's something you don't understand, explain it. Just ask the question in chat. But if you're fine, no need to say anything, right? Could number 11 also be nosotros or nosotras? I don't think so. I think if it was Pedro y yo, it would be nosotros. It can only be nosotros because Pedro is masculine. Right? But if it was Pedro y yo, like number 12 is mi papa y yo, then it would be we. Right? You have to have a yo for it to be we. Or they just tell you it's we. Number 11, well, ellos son estudiantes is correct. Yeah, okay, I guess if the person is speaking to somebody else, would be ellos. About Pedro y tú, like a teacher is saying to another teacher, they are well-behaved students, then yes. Number 17, la clase is one. Right, okay, so the students in the class would be plural, right? But a class is. Yeah, okay. I guess number 6 could be ustedes. So for some of them, you're asking me if what I put down as nosotros, and even somewhere I put down ustedes, if it could be something else, like it could be ellos or ellas. The difference would be, it depends on who you're speaking to, right? So even in number 6, if I'm speaking to Anna too, like one of you is Anna and a classmate next to you would be the you, right? Then, and I'm speaking directly to you, I would say you are nice. So I would use ustedes. But if I'm talking to another teacher and I'm saying, hey, Anna and you, well, you see, I still think it's strange to put you as they. But if I said Anna and this other person and I'm speaking to somebody else who's not Anna or the other person, okay, I guess I could probably say yes. This is not a great point of contention. We just practice an agreement. Okay, so it seems like nobody has a major question about and there's nothing that we really don't understand, right? It's just questions about could it be AS sometimes or AOs. Ooh, no, guys, this is a number 17 class is one, right? It's one class, two classes. But the sentence says one class. One class is not plural. People in the class are plural, but one class is like a group. One group is singular. Always take your clue from what the Spanish is. La is for one, right? If it was more than one, it would be las. Okay, last 10 seconds here, and then we're going on to the main lesson for today, right? Y'all are overthinking this issue with class. Class. Classes. Class is one. Classes is more than one. La clase. Oops, my bad, that's English. La clase, right? Las classes, okay? No, a double L in Spanish is pronounced like a Y sound. So ELLOS, ellos, right? Now we didn't start, some of people are starting in different places with Spanish, right? So some people already know how to pronounce certain things, and some people need a refresher, right? But because of just it's a summer program with 4 weeks, and I want to make sure you have something that you will need regardless of what level you're at. This is a topic I chose. I didn't go back to sounds, right? When we start in September, we'll probably start with sounds for letters in the alphabet. And things like how to make nouns plural. So this would be an issue because we will do it then, right? All right, let's go to Istar. Now, there's in English, we just have, well, actually, let's try the game. Y'all remember who you chose? Who your person was that you chose? Or who your creature was that you chose? All right, so Jerry the jellyfish is done for. All right, who's your next person? Who's the next one you think is gonna get frozen? Let's see. Nelly the novel. Nelly the novel went to the cinema to see Escaping Nemo when he accidentally sat in the front row. His horn sadly was blocking the view of some of the people in the back. A serious crime by the laws of Dr. Evilo. My goodness. So what happened to him? He was frozen. Oh, Nelly. All right, let's do one more. Typed LOL when he was not actually laughing out loud. This was a serious crime under Dr. Evilo's rule. Oh my goodness. Who would do such a thing? There he goes. All right, so who's left? Larry the lobster, Otis the octopus, Seema the seahorse, Tina the turtle. All right. Okay. Here's our main topic for today. Let me start back the recording now. All right, Janae, if you remind me afterwards, I'll come back to that and double check it, right? But the general rule is if it says EO, guys, I interpreted it as us, we, right? Because it's a subject pronoun. If it said E2, I interpreted it as you. So ustedes. Right? If it was two names, then it was ellos and ellas. Okay, let me clear that away. All right, so in Spanish, we have two verbs to say, express the concept, express the verb to be. In English, we just have to be. We have I am, you are, he, she, it is, we are, they are, right? It doesn't matter if we are saying, I am tall, you are short, we are in the grocery store, we are around the corner. It doesn't matter what we're expressing. Something that wouldn't change, such as being tall or short, or something that will change, such as being in the grocery store, because we can't stay there forever. Right? We use the same verb in English, but in Spanish, we use ser for permanent things, and we use estar for, we say temporary things that will change, right? So estar, the general rule is temporary things. We're going to go into a more detailed explanation just now, right? Things that change. And the acronym we use for this is place. P for place, L for location, A for actions, C for conditions and states, E for emotions, right? All right. Now, donde está? The accent's on the wrong place. Sorry, this shouldn't be here. The accent should be on the O. Okay. Donde está is where is it? Or where are you? Right? If I want to clarify where are you, I would put in state. But it could mean where are you because está could go with state, right? For a formal you. Right? And if I have to clarify it, then I need to say donde está usted? Right? This really means very. But since, in Spanish, sometimes they leave off the subject. Okay. All right. Everybody has noted what they need to. We can go to the next slide. All right. Let's look at the next slide, right? The only thing you really need from here is star. That's the topic, and then it means to be. And it's for temporary things or things that will change, right? So if you are still noting that those things that I just called, you could give me a thumbs up or raise your hand so I know. Other than that, 10 seconds. Okay, some people still are. Go ahead. You can have a minute. I'm so generous with time, I know. A whole minute. All right, and just to clarify, a star means to be, right? Just like star meant to be, but a star is now for temporary things, right? Okay, so last 10 seconds. The first thing we want to understand is what these words mean on the side here, right? So this is the slide we're going to next. Actually, my bad. First, we're conjugating a star. Let me turn on the recording. Okay, so a star to be in temporary situations, things that might change, could change. Okay, so we say, yo estoy, I am, right? And I mean, my letter is capital, but it would only be capital if you weren't including yo, right? Yo estoy, I am. Tú estás, you are. So this is familiar. If you know the person and you're using the to form, then tú estás. Ella, usted, he, she, or it is, or you formal, you are. Ella, usted está. right? Note the accents. Make sure you take down the accents. Nosotros estamos, or nosotras, if that is needed, right? Okay. Ellos, ellas, ustedes están. They are, you are, and for some reason I have familiar. Oh, right, no, I have familiar and formal, right? Any type of plural you, whether it's familiar, your friends, or formal, like your teachers or people in authority, it's still ustedes, right? Okay. All right, so you're taking this down. Just in case I needed to state that, please copy and learn, right? And I'm giving you a couple minutes to do that. One more minute. All right, I'm gonna open the chat a little bit again. If there are students who have questions, they don't understand something that's on the screen, please let me know, right? So message in the chat if there's something you don't understand. Okay, last 10 seconds. Okay, the plurality last time. Okay, I mean, I think that in English we just think of the word you as you, right? But this you up here is singular. Let me turn on the recording for this. In Spanish, they differentiate between you singular and you plural, whereas in English it's always you are, right? Whether the you is you're addressing is one person or whether you're talking to is 30 people or 100, right? So if the you is singular and familiar, it takes estas, right? If the you is singular but formal, so like here you're talking to your friends, here you're talking to your teachers, right? You use esta to convey that. If the you is plural, so you're talking to your class, you're addressing the staff room, you're talking to strangers on the internet because you're giving a lecture, right? Then it is estan, right? So the plural belongs to you. What is meant to be familiar and formal? Okay, so picture let's give ourselves a setting. We're in the grocery store. You go there with your family and your best friend who's spending the day with you all, and then there are the other people in the grocery store, right? Your family and your best friend, you'll address with the familiar form because you are familiar with them. They're your friends, they're your equals. But if you're talking to strangers in the grocery store, or people behind a counter that you're asking them to because you're buying meat or you're buying cake or you're buying something and you have to address those, you would use a more formal form perhaps because they are strangers, or a pharmacist, or you go to a doctor's office, use the formal form, right? So formal is for strangers, familiar would be for friends, and equals you're talking to your classmates even if you've never met them, never spoken to them, they're still familiar because they're still on your level. They have as much authority as you do. But if you're addressing teachers, maybe they don't teach you, maybe they are strangers to you, but they teach in your school, then you address them with a formal form of address, right? Now in English, we use words like sir or madam or miss or excuse me or sorry to bother you, phrases to convey deference and respect. But in Spanish, they would use an usted form instead of a tu form, right? All right. Last 10 seconds. Okay, let's do one more phrasefication. And then we're going to decide that I thought we were going to originally, which is where we explain the different uses of a star. Okay, so who just got frozen here? The seal. Sam the seal. Okay, who's next? Who you all think is going next? Oh, it's Larry Lobster. Let me use $10 to Larry thought it was okay not to give the 1 cent change as it was his first day on the job. Big mistake. Please forgive me. I hope you learned your lesson, you criminal. Oh, that's so terrible. Poor Larry. You see, I bet he wishes he was in a country where they no longer have a 1 cent coin because we round up or we round down. Huh? All right. Poor Larry the lobster. Goodbye, Larry. Yeah, want to do one more? Let's do one more. Uh-oh, poor Even if he was the political party was running and the opposition against Dr. Evilo. Let's just say a campaign didn't make it far. Vote for me and we will rid the world of this evil Dr. Evil. Oh dear. We should have known better. Yeah. All right. Oh, sorry, Seema. So who's left? Tina the turtle and Otis the octopus. We'll make it to the end, boy. All right. Okay. Why don't we take a real break where you could walk around a little bit, stretch your legs, get some water, but probably not enough time for lunch. So um we will start back. I'm gonna leave everything. If you are not tired and you want to just stay on starting note, you could do that. Right. Um when we come back, we will go through it piece by piece. Right? All right, so it's 12:31 now. Let's say about 12:35. We will restart. If you all have any issues, now is a good time to put them in the chat. But real issues, right? And there was a question somebody had about number 17, whether it was AS. All right, so no, this is still La Clase, which is 1, so it's AR. Yes, the acronym said please. Oh, my bad. Okay. All right, let me fix that. Okay, that's my fault. Because when I was coming up with examples, place and location were hard to differentiate. So I changed place to position because that was a little easier to say how that is different from location. Wow, that 3 minutes like flew by there. I didn't even realize the time was up. Sorry about that, but thank you. Okay, so uh let's look at the 5 things on the screen, right? All right, give me 1 second. And then we will look at it. Let me just type a response here. So the Miss Abuelo's questions was ellos son mayores. Right, let's go through these now. Okay, so let me start back the recording. Okay, I cleared this out. So what do I have to fix? Right. So this is exactly what it needs to say. This word is really supposed to be done. Right? Just put in the D. Right. Okay, so somebody pointed out on the first screen, I had place as the word for P, right? And I was saying that that had to do with the fact that when it came time to come up with examples, position and location, sorry, place and location were just the same thing in my head. So I put position instead, right? All right, so position, where something or something is in relation to something else. So for example, look at your device. Where is it? The device that you logged into for class, where is it? Is it, oh, I didn't turn off the chat, and you'll get to answer. Is it on a surface? Is it on a table? Okay, in your hand, on your lap, right? So it is at home, okay, it is on the table, right? All of those, to express that in a sentence, we would use a star. So the phone is in my hand. The phone is on the table. The phone is at home. The phone is, so in, at, on, those words tend to go with a star, right? So a star plus in, at, on, whatever, right? Okay. Then we come to location. Where something is or where someone is. Now, some of you might tell me I'm at home, just like the device was. And then that is still location, right? So you see how it could overlap. But then location is also something like at the grocery store. So a star plus at the grocery store, right? In the mall, right? In school, on a plane. These are all examples of a location you could be at the airport, right? So a star plus location. Okay, so let me pause. If you're confused about anything to do with those two, let me know, right? And if you're confused, message on, you have to message on your chat to tell me, right? Okay, the third thing is action in progress. So what are you doing right now, right in this moment? I'm sitting, I am listening. Don't tell me I'm feeling sleepy. That's not doing something. Also, don't tell me you're sleeping. Nope. I am typing, I am writing. All the things that you are doing right now. I am writing. They are listening. Things that are happening in this moment. It is raining. Right? No, not what you're going to do, right? That wouldn't count. It's what you're doing right now. That is what counts. Right? You would use a star to express it. Okay, so you would get the correct form of a star, and you would use what is called, well, the equivalent of the ing form. What is that called in a grammar textbook? When y'all learned it in primary school? Who remembers what you call the ing form? You call it a present participle. So you could have the present tense, right? For example, in the present tense, you would say, this is not to write down. This is an example to illustrate. You would say, I read, right? But if you want to convey what you're doing right this second, you would say, I am reading. Okay? And this is what we use a star for. When we need to say that something is going on right now, we use a star, right? And I'm going to add to this note a little bit. I'm going to say it's, and I would like you all to take this down, right? A star plus the present participle. I don't have room to go straight across like a sentence, but you could do that, right? Participle, okay? And this gives you the present. You can put this under if you already started writing a star plus the present participle. Continuous tense. Present because obviously it's present. It's going on now. It didn't go on yesterday. It will not go on in the future. It's going on now. Continuous because it's ongoing. It hasn't stopped. It's continuing. And then tense, well, it's a tense, right? Right. So I neglected to say this at the start, but hopefully you all picked it up. Yes, please write. Please copy this note. Okay, then we have the condition of something or oneself. Right? To me, 4 and 5 are very close. Condition or state something is in. So if you think about state, you could think of like the room is messy. Right? So that's the state of the room. The house is dirty. That's the state of the room. Yeah, if you don't have space for anything with the present continuous tense, just go after you're done, go on the next page or go after the notes and you can put it in there, right? Now, one other one that tends to give people pause when we do it in Spanish is the state of being married or unmarried, right? That's also considered a state. There was a really popular Shakira song the other day. I guess I don't know if it's still popular. Y'all know what I'm talking about? This song that I'm talking about? Popular Shakira song that was on the radio all the time. No, Shakira, it's just that's old people music. No, not the song with all the countries. She had a song called Soltera. It was completely in Spanish. Right? Anyhow, soltera in Spanish means single woman, soltero, I guess, female, right? So another important condition that takes a star is married or single. Right? Or a state married or single. Right? And people are always like, oh, but marriage is forever. So, but just be aware that when we are conjugating to be, if we're expressing whether somebody's married or single, we use a star, right? I just want to draw it to your attention because it always comes up later on, and people are like, but why wouldn't that be ser? Well, in Spanish culture, it's considered a state. All right, last one is emotion. And I think that's a clear one. You can think of plenty of examples yourself. That's like happy, sad. Now I want to put tired, but tired isn't really an emotion. Tired might be like a condition or state, right? That's another example of condition or state. Um, frustrated, shy. That's not exactly no, that could never mind. I will leave that. Because shy is more likely Sarah, right? As a personal characteristic, not shy in the moment. Okay. All right. So think about it as you finish writing a note. And if there's anything that you are confused about, ask me in the chat. Yeah, exasperated, perturbed, and you might angry. Angry is an emotion. Exasperated and perturbed, if you're not thinking of those as emotions, that could be condition or state. So generally takes 24 hours to update. He asks for 24 hours. Sometimes he does it right after, and sometimes he does it the night of the class. So but if you search for the live, you should be able to find the live even if he hasn't posted the recording as yet, the Zoom recording as yet, right? Yeah, angry is another example of emotion. Do you have to write what is in color? Well, maybe not every single thing, but it might be helpful to take down one or two examples. Location and position, sort of the same, yes. Just like condition or state emotion. There are some words that will be clearly condition and some words that will be clearly emotion, and then there will be some words that kind of could be either one. It's not important to distinguish and say this is a condition or this is an emotion. It's just important to recognize this is a temporary feeling that will pass. I want to give you all some time to write. and think. If you have questions, I'm going to turn off your chat for a bit and then turn it back on. By then, you should have processed any questions you might have, right? Right, so I'm going to open the chat and give folks a chance if they have a question about anything that's on the screen to ask it. Okay, can we move on in a minute? Okay. Yeah, okay, so question about if you were married for 10 plus years, would it still be considered? Okay, temporary is not the way to think of it. Think of it as a state of being, right? So it would still be a star. And if you ask yourself why, well, you weren't born married. And yes, people's marriage state could change when eventually if a spouse passes away and or if they get divorced or the marriage gets annulled, whatever. There are situations that have nothing to do with the failure of the marriage that cause the person to not be married, right? So it is considered a state. You can think of it that way. All right. Let me show you a resource that I've created for you with vocabulary for a star. And let's discuss the homework before we continue. Oh, let's finish out what's going on with Dr. Evil. Dr. Evil. I'll pause the recording. Okay, so the last one was Seema the Seahorse by Seema. Okay, let's see who's next. What? Nothing happened and the turtle, Tina the turtle? We had no, okay, we don't know how, but Tina the turtle. Okay, so the winner is Otis the octopus. So if anybody chose Otis, then they won. I have never won any of these games. I think that still makes them unfair. All right, we have some winners. Some people won. Oh my god. Okay, all right. Some of y'all chose the octopus. All right. Congratulations to those of you who won. I'd say at least like 10 people won. Okay. We're going back to our next week. We'll have to start a new one, right? We're going back to our PowerPoint here. So, right, and I wanted to show you a resource it's posted on the blog. So I'm turning back on the recording, right? Okay, so on the homework page, okay, right now the chat is off just for a little while, right? This is the link to the homework page. You will see. Oh, I know it says the 6th and today's the 7th, but don't let that wait, no, that's English, my bad. Where is Spanish? Today's Tuesday, yes. Okay, so it says the 7th. Good job, me. Right. Use the slides. So this is the link to the PowerPoint with a star. And the recording, when Sir posted, he didn't post it yet, but he will by tonight, right? And then we have some vocabulary words that are commonly used with a star, right? So here's the vocabulary list. I'm sending it to everyone. If you have the ability to save it now, you can save it. Or you can go to the website. As well as here's the PowerPoint list. Whoops, not what I meant to do. Right? Now, you are not allowed to write on the stuff. You can't edit it, but you could access it, view it. If you want to create a screenshot and keep in your files, but keep them organized. And of course, you could look at it and make notes from it, right? Like about 20, I'm looking through some of the chat now. About 20 people chose the octopus and actually won. All right. So we understand what is for homework. All right, so let's just recap what we did today. Actually, we still have 15 minutes. We could do a little bit more. Sorry. I bet you all thought you were going to get away. But we're not as yet. We could do a little bit more. All right. So any vocabulary, it's organized section by section. First section is position. Next one is locations. Next list is continuous actions, right? Common verbs that we would use to indicate what we are doing right now. Then we have, I didn't write it in, but conditions. Right, here's condition. Okay, during the week, I'll go through and delete some of the space and make it look a little prettier, but I didn't have time before class today, right? And then we have emotion, right? Now, if you already know these words because you're in Form 3 and Miss has been giving you this or Sir has been giving you this since Form 1, then no problem. Don't study it, right? But if you are meeting this for the first time or you don't know it, you don't remember it, when you see it, please write it down and start learning it, right? All right, back to our presentation. We can do one more slide. Let's do emotions. Oh, actually, let's try this exercise. Let's do the first 5 here. We have to complete the exercise, the sentences with the correct form of a star. And the forms of a star we learned today are estoy, estás, está, estamos, están, right? So here's the first 5. You could do all 5 together, number your answers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and put them in the chat, right? What verb would you put to fill in the blank for these? So it's yo estoy, tú estás, él, ella, usted, está, nosotros, nosotras, estamos, ellos, ellas, ustedes, están, right? Okay, everybody understands what I'm asking you to do? Anybody is confused? Okay, the chat is on. You can send all 5 answers together, please. All right, I'm giving you a minute. All right, let me help us out a little bit because I think people are still confused about how to know which form of the verb. Marta y Juan, this is they. So this will be ellos and choose the form of estar. La casa de Ana, that would be it. And la casa is feminine, so it would be ella. It is ella, right? Yo is just yo. Mis abuelos, that would be they. And so it would be ellos. And two is just two, right? All right, so now tell me the correct form of the verbs. Estamos would be for nosotros, right? But I don't have any nosotros on the screen. I don't have any we. They is ellos. Right? So if I say Marta y Juan y yo, like and me, and I, Marta, Juan, and I, then it would be estamos. Okay, let's correct so we can wrap up. All right? Ellos, they are, están in the library studying for the exam. La casa de Ana, Ana's house is al lado. So ella está al lado del supermercado, next to the supermarket. Yo, I am, so yo estoy muy cansado. Mis abuelos, they are on vacation in Mexico. They're not going to stay in Mexico permanently. Mis abuelos están, they are. Ellos están. Right? ¿Dónde está 2. No, sorry, estás. My bad. ¿Dónde estás tú ahora? Right? All right, make your corrections. The chat is temporarily off while we say goodbye, so I don't get 100 million goodbyes, right? That I can't sort through, right? So if you, once you've noted your answers, if you understand there's nothing else you want to ask, you all are free to go, right? So remember the first one is not estamos, it's están. Okay, y'all know what the homework is, you know where to find it. Enjoy the rest of your day. If you have a question you want to ask, just stick around for like 2 minutes and I'll open back the chat and you could ask it then. All right? All right, guys, remember to review before next week. All right, I'm reopening the chat for if anyone has a question they want to ask. Anything you don't understand, you want to ask, you could do that. Other than that, once you're done, I'll see you later tomorrow. Remember, class is later tomorrow. All right, those of us who are writing, I'm leaving the meeting open for 5 more minutes and then I have to close it, okay? All right, guys, one more minute here. So remember, you can always come back to recording.